Hello everyone. Today's topic is basic of design and we are going to talk about introduction to design. In today's topic we are going to cover introduction to design, what is good design examples of all time, what is industrial design, where industrial design is used, and the session objectives are appreciate the importance of design, you can describe the characteristics of a good design and explain industrial design and its importance. Now what is design? Uh, Design is, in simple words, a way to solve a problem. You have something what you want to achieve, and you make a way out of it. In very simple words, but there's a definition for it. A specification of an object manifested by an agent intended to accomplish goals in a particular environment, set using a set parameter of components, satisfying a set requirements subject to constraints. Now here all the highlighted words have a way. It's a very core to what design is. Now, as I said, it's a way to solve a problem. But to solve a problem, the problem is your requirements and it's a constraint also. And it is under one environment. And you have a certain uh, resources, which is your primitive components. And definitely you have a goal, which is to solve a problem. So this is how we can explain design is. Design is something uh, which helps in making things more tangible. You have an idea in your mind and you want to really bring it to the real life. So design is a way of doing it. You perceive a product or perceive some thought in your mind and you want to bring it to the real life. So the whole process of bringing that into the real life and how you actually bring that, what are the areas of problem you solve, what are the areas which you have to tackle, all that process is what design is. So in very simple words, it's a plan or drawing produced to show the look and the function of a working of a building, garment, or other objects before it's built or made. And or simply, design is so many things executed in many different ways, but the function is always the same. Design is to help solve visual or physical problem. So, as I said, design is a way to solve a problem. It's not something only related to making sketches or making models or making some detailed drawing. It's a collective effort of everything. We can solve a problem by just, or we can represent an idea by just making a sketch, and we can take forward from there that how we can actually produce a product. So all these stages and all these processes are part of design. But not every solution is directly a design. There is a good design or a good solution. There are certain characteristics or certain requirements to say that this design is good, this design is not so good. And this is how we define it. One of our very famous designers, Data Ram, he specified certain characteristics how you can define that design is a good design or not so good design. I'll not say bad, but not so good design. So foremost characteristics or the most important characteristics of any design is innovation. Any design is not which doesn't have any innovation into it, you cannot call it as one of the best designs. Let's take example of a phone. The phone iPhone was launched, we had a very different definition of a phone and the way we used to use a phone. The primary goals of a phone was very different. The day the iPhone was launched and it was accepted by the people, it changed the way we use phone, the change the way we communicate altogether now. So that's one of the most, I'll say, uh, innovative feature of a phone that can change the way you work. And this was one of the biggest characteristics of that design, that it was very innovative. And that's why it's one of the top 10 innovations of all time. Then second most important is usefulness. You created something very innovative. That's fine. You created something very highly uh, great new product, which is on the peak of its innovation. But if it's not useful, it cannot be used by a normal person. It cannot be used by the consumer altogether. It's of no use. We cannot term it as a good design. Might be it has the best innovation or one of the finest innovation, but if it cannot be used by a consumer, it is not useful. Let's take example like you developed a pen which has some very intuitive features into it, like it can act as a pen and a pencil or something like that. But the moment you look at it, you don't know how to use it, how to click it, or how the pen or pencil is going to come out of it. What's the use of that innovation? So that kind of thing is very important in a good design. The third and the most very important characteristics of a good design is aesthetic. We can make a very let's take example of computers, the desktop computers, which is nowadays getting obsolete, but still let's take example of a computer. uh, Previously we used to have a three-piece computer set, like a monitor, a CPU, and a keyboard and all that. Apple came up with eMac long back, and they integrated everything into one. What they did definitely was innovative, that they integrated everything into one and they made it more useful. Above all, the colors and the form what they use was very aesthetically pleasing. The computer was no more a device which you use for your daily purpose. It became more like a centerpiece of attraction of your home. It was more uh, aesthetically appealing than any other product of your home. So that was the kind of addition what you can do to your design if it has aesthetic appeal and a very good sense of aesthetics into it. The fourth and a very important characteristic of a good design is understandable. You made a product which is innovative, it's useful also to you, is aesthetically also great, but it is not understandable. You cannot understand whether it's a phone or it's a computer or it's what. If you make something product like that, it's something it's not going to sell. Ford created a three-wheeled car, which they used to call it as a bike car or something like that. It was very innovative because it has a lot of technological input into it. It was definitely useful because it takes so much of less space. Aesthetically, it was also good, but it was not understandable to a customer that whether is it a car or is it a bike. The customer was not able to relate it. So that was one of the failures for that. Maybe it's good in some other parameters, but it was not selling because the customers were not able to understand what they are buying. Unobtrusive. Let's keep the product what it is. Let me give you an example. If you design a stapler or you design a office stationery which is meant for one purpose, but it doesn't look like that or it doesn't say that I am for this purpose, it's something which might not catch to a customer. Example, you make a stapler which looks like a bug bee or something like that. Maybe not every customer is pleased by that. So it's very important that the product should say this what exactly I am and still leave some space for the customer to explore it. So that unobtrusive, and any obtrusive product is not a good design. The product has to be honest in itself. It has to be honestly do and say what it's meant to be. Anything which we create may be like it's very innovative, it may be aesthetically very different, pleasing and all that, but it not honest to what it should be. That is not a good design. Any design has to be a long lasting design, not from its actual shelf life but from its design shelf life. Let's take example of Volkswagen Beetle. The design is the design is so long lasting that even in World War II when it was created, and now when you see any Volkswagen Beetle, you don't have to look at the badge and say that it's a Volkswagen Beetle. The shape itself or the design itself tells you this is a Beetle. Even the new Beetle carries the same DNA from the old one, and it very much, without appealing or without telling to the customer that this is a new Beetle, people look at it and understand this is a new Beetle. So that's a long-lasting design. Any design has to be very thorough. It should be thorough. It should be thorough in what it is supposed to be done. It is a combination of understandable, useful, and honest. But thorough is something where you have to see that what exactly is required in that design and whether it is giving any value to that design or not. So that's what thorough is. All designs should be environment friendly. We should not create something which is not suitable to environment. It should use the least amount of resources, or it should be more and more recyclable. Now, if you see, more and more products are becoming environment friendly and they are trying to uh, uh, become uh, and sell on that USP itself that this is the highest recyclable product or something, or it uses the least amount of poisonous substances and all that. And above all, last not the least, the design has to be minimal. It should be what it should be. No extras, no too much of it. I give you a very simple example. If you see Mahindra Scorpio and if you see Tata Safari, there's a hell lot of difference between the two. Although the cars fall in similar segment, but the moment you look at Scorpio, the design is not minimal. There are a lot of things into it. There are a lot of cladding, a lot of distractions the moment you look at it. Maybe the product is very innovative, it's very useful, it's very honest to what it is, but it's overdone. And a similar kind of thing is for, or unlikely, the Safari is very different. It's very clean, it's very simple. I can take another example of Volkswagen Polo. There are no lines, it's very minimalistically designed, and all the details are added to the front grille and the headlamp, and the form itself speaks so much that the moment you look at the car, you can say it's a Volkswagen Polo, and you don't see any distractions. What you look, it is a pure car. So these are some of the good characteristics of a good design, and many products have all of them, or many products have some hint of each of them. I'll take example of few uh, till date one of the best products we ever seen in the market, and why they are so good in design. So one of the very first example is Mini Cooper. That is a first ever car which was like made for a country, by the country, for the country kind of thing. It has a lot of innovations. At such a small size, it can actually make almost like a 6 feet 4 inch tall guy sit comfortably. So that's the kind of innovation they did in such a small design, which is till date one of the most remarkable design. And it has features, things like it is very useful. The usefulness factor is there. It's very honest, and definitely it's very thorough in their design. The next example I take of Coca-Cola bottle, contour bottle. It's one of the most long-lasting design till date. The moment you look at the bottle, you don't have to see the label and say it's a Coca-Cola. The contour itself tells you this is a Coca-Cola bottle, and that contour or that design is carried forward from almost like 100 years now. I've already talked about the example like Volkswagen Beetle and iPod and iPhones, how they changed it. Macintosh, I'll take another example. This was on the pinnacle of its innovation. This is the way. This was one of the another milestones in the human history where we changed the way we compute and we use computers. And it was full of innovations. It's very honest, very thorough in its design, and above all, it was aesthetically also very pleasing of its time. So these are few examples which I wanted to share, that how you can relate a good design and the characteristics of it. Now, what is industrial design? We have talked about what design is and the different characteristics of good design. Now, what is industrial design? In simple words, industrial design is a combination of applied art and applied science. It's a very innovative combination of applied arts and applied science to improve the aesthetics, ergonomics, architecture, functionality, and the usability of the product. These are the key uh, uh, areas where industrial design works. And it also helps to improve the product's marketability and production also. Industrial design is not only limited to the aesthetics and ergonomics, but it can also make a product sell better. It can also even increase the production of a product in a different way. And the role of an industrial designer is to create and execute design solutions uh, for problems of form, process, usability, physical economics, marketing, brand development, and sales, and etc. And how they use it in a different areas, I'll just show you that. These are the areas where industrial design is used. Definitely automotive, the consumer products and white good. In the recent time, you have seen that there's a remarkable change. The products are designed, the look and feel of the product. Uh, 20 years back, the television was very different than what we see today. So the washing machines or the mixer grinders, what you use today, were very different 20 years from now, and today there's a hell lot of difference between them. And electronics, this is another area, as I said, mobile phones, your whatever computer products, what you see, there is a lot of um, uh, industrial design goes into it. One other area where user experience and interface. Now, user experience and interface are two different things. User interface is the GUI, what you use, the graphic user interface, or if you go to a kiosk and the way you interact with the kiosk, that's user interface. But user experience is something you go to a retail outlet and the kind of experience what you get. The overall ambience, the overall way you interact with the each and every element of that area, that is what user experience is. Industrial design can make a huge difference when it is used in packaging industry. You can make a product sell like anything if with small changes in the packaging itself. Industrial design is very much used in medical industry also, because there the doctor to patient and the patient to doctor interaction is very much required, and industrial design helps them in uh, relating them or connecting them very effectively. Fashion design or fashion industry is another area where industrial design is heavily used, and graphic design is definitely is one another area where industrial design is used. So in the end of this session, we understood what is the meaning of design, characteristics of a good design, industrial design, and its importance. Thank you. Thank you very much.